All right, we're back for another Friday Financial Wrap-Up with Mr. Michael Zuber. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing really well, man. Thank you for doing this. I look forward to this opportunity each and every week.
Man, it is June the 6th, 2025. Let's get into the show. Donald Trump and Elon Musk. What the hell is going on?
Well, as somebody who doesn't like to get involved in all of the nonsense, I think this is something you have to be aware of, right? We have arguably the two most powerful people on the planet beefing, and I think it's interesting to play the dominoes out. So if you step back, Elon Musk is now out of kind of full-time government work, right? There's some rule that says he can only do 130 days. And, then there was a ceremony to let him go and all of that. It would be interesting to know if there's more to it than that. Then he comes out, he probably feels, I don't know, like he could once again voice his opinion, as Elon has been known to do. And he comes out and says this big, beautiful bill is an abomination, which obviously is going to irk Trump to no end, and obviously irks Trump irks Trump. And then Trump says some things about canceling contracts. And then Musk says things about, getting Trump out of office. And it is definitely popcorn time. It's not a good look for either man, in my opinion. It doesn't help the cause at general. It doesn't help America to have these two guys fighting over this. But I think Elon wants to kill the bill. I think Elon has made it very clear during the election that he was very much involved in cutting costs, not growing the deficit. This bill, according to everyone who's penciled it, says it's going to grow, and Elon's not going to get behind that. And obviously Trump, as the architect of the big, beautiful bill, the guy who named it, he doesn't want to hear that. So yeah. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting the next 72 hours, the next 3 days, because I'm going to guess everybody around both of these guys are like, I'm taking your phone away. Stop it. Stop. Just back off. Right. You're acting like children. So, it'll be interesting the next 72 hours, because this could go nuclear or it could just fizzle out. So we'll see by Monday morning.
Yeah. And, not good for the presidency, not good for the country, not good for Tesla stock or, all the different Elon enterprises and all the stuff he's doing. Seems like a big distraction. Let me ask you a follow-up question on this, though. I was a little like, this bill and adding all this debt, it seemed really weird when you had, Doge and, they're cutting costs and they're looking to make efficient, no spending, really attack the debt. But then also too, something was said, does the bill take away some of the EV tax credits, or was there anything with electric vehicles that was a part of the bill that you know of that was actually factual?
I actually don't think it was in the bill. I think one of the first things Trump did in office was kill Biden's EV credit. Okay. And near as I can tell, Elon Musk was 100% behind it. In fact, I saw him talk about that during the run up to the election. He's like, guys, you got to kill this. As far as Elon is concerned, you're not helping Tesla. You're helping GM and Ford and, all the other players in EV, because Tesla is the dominant player. So I believe Elon wanted it gone. I think Trump saying that Elon was upset is a bold-faced lie. In fact, if you go to X or Twitter, you could see that they've already community noted the fact that that's a lie. So I believe that. Okay. I don't know. A lie is a really hard word. Certainly a mistake.
Got it.
Maybe a lie.
Okay. I'm going to come back. I've got a bigger question for you. Is this all theater? Are these two guys, is this WWE? Is this all theater for some bigger psych op? I'm going to save that question toward the end. But let's keep going. Grant Cardone, another very sensationalized figure. Home prices crash as rates drop. What's going on with Grant? Tell me about that.
So I've seen Grant Cardone a couple of times in the last 5 to 7 days. Most recently, Ryan Pineda did a video, I think, on Instagram. talking about a phone call he had with Grant. And Grant believes that rates are going to fall and home prices are going to fall, which if you just step back at the surface and you hear that rates fall, prices fall, you probably laugh out loud, right? You probably have a visceral reaction. However, I will remind you of a conversation I had with Melody Wright in January. Near the end of that conversation, I let it be known that one of the shocking ways that we could see the median home price crash is if we had 4% mortgage rates.
Right.
Because again, you have to remember what we have structurally built over the last 4 years. We have built a broken housing market that is not transacting at the low end. The move-up buyer is nowhere to be found. So we're essentially doing one-off transactions. If mortgage rates do go to 4%, and again, I'm not calling it, I'm just playing out an intellectual exercise, what will happen? You will have years and years unlock of the move-up buyer. How many of you are sitting in homes with 2.3% mortgage and you need that extra bedroom? You want that better school district. You want the better backyard. You want this, you want that. So the really odd thing about this is, I said it in January. If mortgage rates fall to 4% or below, you will undoubtedly see the median home price drop because we will unlock the low end. And I think that blows people's minds, but I think it's a structural reality when you understand how median home price is calculated. Right now, we are operating in an environment where the low end is essentially not transacting. Thus, the median is being pulled higher.
Right.
If you unlock years of the low end, it will simply be pulled lower. So now I haven't heard Grant say a number. He has just said lower rates. Let me be clear. Today, we'll call mortgage rates 7%. If mortgage rates only fall to 6%, that is not enough. They've got to fall. They got to have a 4 handle. Is it 4.5? Maybe. Certainly 4.
Okay.
So again, if anybody has found Grant to actually give a number, I'd love to see that video. I want to see if he's thinking like I am, because I don't believe that. I don't believe the move up buyer or the low end is unlocked at 6 or 6.1 or 6.2. I think it takes something substantially lower than that to. Just imagine all the people like Lance Lambert, for example. He has said it repeatedly. He's locked into a house. He wishes he had 1 bedroom. He would be out of that house in a heartbeat if rates were 4%, right? He'd get the bigger house. So I think there's hundreds of thousands of people in that situation. And mathematically speaking, 4% rates, lower home prices, at least at a medium home price level.
Yeah, time will tell. This is something definitely we keep our eye on. I do like the idea. It would also feel, I think, if you saw rates drop down into the 4s, you see inventory unlock. I think also it balances out that not that it's a buyer's market or a seller's market, but maybe a truly balanced market where we just transact. Do you see that with values, or what do you see with values in that also?
Again, I think it's really weird for me to play this out because, again, it's not something I believe, but I like to steel man that side. I think it would be a pretty wild environment, actually.
Interesting. Okay. So you just think some stuff spikes and some stuff is...
I just think the activity goes really fast.
Well, the realtors can handle that. I think the flippers, I think investors all the way around would be excited about it. Let's keep going. Let's talk about the JOLTS report. What is it? What happened?
Yeah, so every month we get 3 jobs reports. They always come out at the beginning of the month. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay. And the jobs market is important, right? Because the Fed has told us repeatedly, that we're essentially on hold, higher for longer, quote unquote, unless the job market breaks. So we, every month, every week, frankly, every Thursday, we should be talking about what's going on in the job market. So JOLTS report is first. The JOLTS report, essentially, for me, the most important number is job openings.
Right.
If you guys remember, I think it was 2 years ago now, JOLTS report peaked at over 10 million job openings. I think there was 1.7 job openings for every able-bodied, job seeker. So that was pretty crazy. Now, last month we came in at 7.2. The trend has been very obvious. It's just going down, right? Makes total sense, right? We had Liberation Day, we have uncertainty, we have recession talk, we have everybody just being really, really nervous. So it's not an environment where companies will open, new job recs, right? So again, it was last month was 7.2. It was expected to come down to 7.1. However, it jumped to 7.4. So the trend is now broken. Right. We'll look for validation next month. But I think it is really interesting. In the face of all of this uncertainty, we added 300,000 job openings, which, I would have lost a lot of money if I was betting on that number.
Right.
I could not imagine it going up 300,000. So net on Tuesday, the job market looks solid. And again, what that means is, Fed is on hold longer.
Right. No, so the Fed pause is real. I mean, if you had to say, okay, do we see 2 rate cuts this year? No rate cuts this year. Michael Zuber talking.
I have not changed my opinion since November of last year. No cuts in 25.
No cuts. Okay. And jobs, the JOLTS report, this is lining up that way. Let's keep going, though. Let's talk about ADP. What is ADP report? The private, explain.
Yep. ADP is the second of 3 reports. It reports private payrolls. It's our first look at job creation. And unlike the JOLTS report, which surprised to the high side, the ADP report was utterly disastrous. Disaster. Crumbling. So to put it in context, last month we had 60,000 jobs created. It was expected to increase to 110,000. It actually came in at 37,000. One analyst did a analysis on it and said that it was a 5 standard deviation miss, right? Expectations 110, you came in at 37. It was a massive miss. And that made us think like, okay, here we go. The long called for jobless recession. We're taking the elevator up. Jobs aren't coming. People are cutting, yada, yada, yada. You saw the 10-year note drop like 11 basis points in 24 hours. Mortgage rates got a lot cheaper. So on Wednesday, our second of 3 reports was, it wasn't ugly. It was disastrous, that ADP report.
Yeah, that is definitely illuminating something. We talked a lot about jobs last year. I feel like the first 5 months of the year, we did not talk about as much. Obviously, here we are in June, and jobs really matter. This JOLTS report, the ADP payroll. Let's keep going. Let's talk about the BLS report. What is it? What happened?
This is the third and final and frankly most important. The JOLTS report and the ADP report are like mini appetizers as we wait wholeheartedly for the Friday report, which is BLS. Again, last month it was 177,000 jobs created. It was expected to collapse to 125,000. And again, you got to remember the ADP report. A lot of people look at the ADP report and go, hey, it's an indicator, right? The indication was massive miss. And as I said, when the ADP report came out in our daily financial news, I said the ADP report's been a horrible arbinger of BLS. It's been way off a lot the last 18 months. And it was off again. It was off in a big way. So again, the expectation was 125,000 this morning. It came in at 139,000. So again, massive beat. Not massive, a beat nonetheless. Yeah. And again, it's just saying that the job market is not deteriorating. The headline numbers, the scary numbers, not there. We're adding jobs, still triple digits. Unemployment stayed stable at 4.2. So again, what's this mean? Fed on hold. Fed's not cutting. Why would the Fed cut?
It's such an odd time. Uncertainty continues. Lots of changes. The job market. This is obviously something we're going to keep an eye on. Let's keep going. Let's talk about the Redfin buyer's market.
Yeah, so I had a big conversation with Lance Lambert yesterday to really understand how Redfin made this call. If you haven't seen the chart yet, I've done several videos on it. Redfin is basically saying there's 500,000 more sellers than buyers, basically indicating that we are once again in a buyer's market. To which I say, welcome to the party, Redfin. I've been telling the audience that for quite a while. You're a little slow on the draw.
Sure.
But also Redfin is saying prices are going to go down. Yep. That's basically what Redfin is saying. Some of the doomers out there basically went out and said Redfin's calling for a housing crash. I don't think that's true. But again, we haven't seen a buyer's market in a long time. And I would just remind you folks, I've said all year, it's the year of the investor. Have a process, have a buy box, write disrespectful offers. I'm hearing from more and more of you that it's working. In fact, I communicated with Pace Morby yesterday morning at like 5 a.m. He and I are both early birds. And he has a website now called Pace Buy Box. Of course, I said, Pace, great job. I love it. Buy Box is a thing I push. And basically what Pace has done is he's just telling everybody what he's looking for. And he's taking down lots of deals, 0% interest, seller seconds, all of these creative things. Because he's like, dude, I'm the only one looking. Everybody else is scared and not doing anything. I'm stacking cash flow. I'm creating deal structures that win today and win tomorrow. That's the attitude to have.
Right.
It's like, go find the motivated seller and figure it out. So it's fun to watch the pros, kind of executing what I've been telling the audience. I was really encouraged by that. So yeah, it's time, folks. Do the work. Nobody in my world should pay list price. Let's be very clear on that.
You've been talking about buyer's market for a very long time. The year of the investor, it is here. It's real. It's now being validated. You've been talking about it. We've been talking about it for a while. So good to be validated. Folks, lots of opportunity. Let's keep going. Let's talk about the Fed Beige Book. What is it? What happened?
Yeah, the Fed Beige Book is basically a kind of a summary of what's going on in the 18 districts that each Fed president is over. And I got to tell you, traditionally, the Fed Beige Book is kind of boring, right? It doesn't really tell us anything. However, the Fed Beige Book is very, very important at what I call inflection points, right? What happens at inflection points is different regions behave differently, right? Okay. Some regions, maybe are more manufacturing heavy and others are not. So you can really see how an economy can either deteriorate or boom in the Fed Beige report. So this week's Fed Beige report was the one I looked at extensively, and I talked about it on Wednesday or Thursday. And the net of the Beige Book is negative, slightly negative, right? Uncertainty, less hiring, higher prices. It was probably what you would expect for an economy that has a lot of uncertainty. It was a net negative report. Not horrible, but kind of net negative, slightly negative. Yeah.
Okay. So again, we said it already, but I want to just emphasize, some people said Jerome Powell's going to resign. You've said all along that, I saw headlines like that, believe it or not. I've also that, Jerome Powell has a limited window. He has how many months left in his term?
I think it's April. It might be May. I mean, he's down to less than a year.
Less than a year. Clearly he's already kind of established a line. He's not going to cave to political pressure. Is that pretty accurate?
No chance.
No chance.
No
Okay.
chance.
So he's not caving to that. And then now it just really comes back to something you said all along. We keep an eye on the job market. And that's really going to dictate, or unless there's some catastrophic black swan type thing that we're not seeing. Is that pretty accurate? That gets a rate cut?
No, absolutely. There's always a chance that something in the financial system breaks and causes the powers that be to react. That's kind of the Jamie Dimon, Ray Dalio warning, right? Black swan coming. But again, for mere mortals like you and I, it's watch the job market, watch the job market, watch the job market. So that's what we're doing. We're watching the job market.
Let's talk about weekly claims. What weekly claims? What?
That's the one. This is now a strong yellow flag. Last week we talked about it. I'm like, hey, one uptick, get right, think about it, watch it. But we've been here before.
Sure.
Right. Next week it could be right back. And unfortunately, weekly claims has taken another step up. Last week was 239. It was expected to fall to 236, which would have been more like trend and back to not a concern. However, it went up again to 247. We've only been here one other time, and I think it was in November of 24, where we were over 250. And this next report, this one next Thursday, if it goes up again, we got a problem.
Okay.
we got a problem. Now, again, we're not going to overreact because this data is noisy. It
Sure.
could just as easily fall to 231, and then we're back to a green flag. But if it goes 247 to 256 or 261, problem. We now have a trend. It's been broken. The baseline's been broken, and it's time to watch.
Time to watch. Michael's got his finger on the pulse, folks. Let me go back to a couple of things. Number one, you have a tank top on, bro. Sun's out, guns out. Let's talk about you said yesterday, what is your body fat now? Talk about your journey this year.
Yeah, so we started the year on January 1st. I think it was actually technically January 2nd at 34.8% via a DEXA scan. I have this Hume body pod at home, which measured me for the first time, and this was in February. It's something like 31, so relatively close given I had a month. But this morning I weighed in at 12.5% body fat. The reason the tank top's on is because right after this call, I'm going to go start a workout, and I didn't feel like changing. But yeah, 12.5. I'm down almost 30 pounds of fat and added 9. No, I'm not doing that. Added 9 pounds of muscle. I benched 225 for the first time in 15 years. I didn't even know I could do it. I'm like,
two wheels, baby.
Yeah, 2 wheels. Just threw it on the bar, and I'm like,
the ORAC combine. Just so you know, I want to put this in context for everybody out there. So the NFL has a measurement. They do a thing for scouting when the players are going from college to the NFL, and they do 225 that's the standard. So. Yeah. Share that. Go back. What did you do this week?
I only did it one time. I got up to 225, which again, I weigh roughly 190 today. So it's 35 pounds, more than my body weight. And I had no idea I could do it. I just felt good and threw it on the bar and said, hey, Olivia, spot me just in case this thing crushes me. But yeah, no, it's really weird. I am a lot stronger, faster, running faster. And it's fun. For a long time I was stuck at 200 pounds, but my body fat was falling, which meant I was adding muscle. Dude, I went from an extra large shirt to a medium. This health journey is it's a lot of fun. It's amazing to see, because one of the things with the whole one rental at a time, that was a 15-year journey, and I've said all the time, I didn't know it was going to work.
Yeah.
Right. This health journey, you don't see it overnight by any chance, but you start to see little things in weeks and certainly in months. It's nice to get that feedback loop so quickly.
Yeah.
And we're 12 and a half. Even if you round up, say it's 13, I'm well on my way to 9.9.
I love it, man. I love it. Good stuff. Let me go back to, man, so good. We're going to do a whole thing on your fitness journey. We're going to do a whole nother show. So if you're interested in that, for viewers, for especially people that are in the community, it's easy to get sucked in. You're working all the time. I'm kind of in that trend right now too, where I need to switch the other way and get back on the health and fitness journey. We're going to do a whole show on that. So watch for that. Let me go back to something we talked about early on, Trump and Musk. Let me ask you, is this staged? Is this theater? Is this WWE? Let's not forget Donald Trump. He went on WWE, the WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Is this just theater and a distraction for something else? Or are these guys just leaning into this to just more publicity? What's going on here? Is this staged? Your opinion.
I do not think so. I don't think it's staged. I just don't know how that would benefit either of them. Unless there is some big, look over here, we're going to sneak this in kind of thing. I really don't see it. What I think is happening is you have two alpha dogs that have never not been the alpha dog. Unfortunately, when you get in the room together, there's only one. There's only one. And it ain't Elon Musk. He ain't the president of the United States. You could argue that Elon Musk got him elected, which I don't think is hyperbole, but it don't matter. He's in the chair. He's in the seat.
Yep.
And, I think, again, as I think I said earlier, what's going on in the last 24 hours makes both men look bad.
Agreed.
makes them look petty. It makes them look non-presidential. It makes them, frankly, look weak. I mean, they're acting like 8th graders.
Yeah, right.
Teenagers. Yeah, I mean, not even 18-year-olds. They're acting like 13-year-olds. Like when you're just trying to figure everything out.
Yeah.
And I really hope both guys chill out. So again, right? Because when you step back, now that Elon Musk is out, he probably feels some level of openness is back. Because I'm guessing when he was in Doge and in the White House and working there full time, he probably had to be less. He was probably, I don't know if he had to or if he felt like he had to be less authentic.
Yeah.
But he's out and he is an American citizen and he could say whatever the hell he wants. That's what the First Amendment is all about.
Yeah.
And he is not. And oh, by the way, he owns the freaking platform. Right, he spent $40-some billion so that he could say what he wants when he wants to everybody in the world, and he's doing it. Also, I think Musk really hates this bill. I think this bill, as it sits today, goes against everything that Musk wants, and he's not going to let this go. This kill bill, he wants to kill this bill.
Interesting.
And
what do you think? Is the bill going to go? Is it not, or is it still like? What do you think the percentages are?
I don't think there's any chance. So in my opinion, there is 0% chance the bill gets through the Senate as is.
Okay.
So there's that.
Okay.
But then the question becomes, okay, so it gets through 0% as is, but what happens? And government officials, whether we like it or not, they could make this thing worse.
Right.
I mean, seriously.
They could load it up.
They could load it up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And this goes from 2.7 billion to 17 billion or something stupid, or trillion or whatever the hell the number is. It's so big, it's hard to imagine. So, and it's really so a couple of other things that have happened in the background. If you remember the story from early after inauguration, Scott Bessent said that Elon Musk was going to save $1 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse. Of course, Elon came out and said 2 trillion, but let's hold him to the trillion mark because that was the initial plan.
Okay.
But by all accounts, he's under 200 billion. I think it was like 170 or 187 or some $1 billion. Nowhere near $1 trillion. So I think Scott Bessent's a little disappointed. I think Elon's probably disappointed that they didn't get the trillion. And that's just going to change the game. So what I've seen Scott Bessent do since this whole bill got put out is he's now basically given up on finding waste, fraud, and abuse because it's not going to move the needle. And he's like, the only way out, guys, is growth. We've got to do the 3-3-3. And, we got to grow at 3%. And, that's a way. It's probably not the best way, right? You would like to do both. But yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. Our national debt is a problem. And growing it 2, 4, 6, 7 trillion it shouldn't be an option. It just shouldn't be an option.
Interesting. Very, very interesting times. Obviously, thank you for all the work you do. You keep your finger on the pulse. You're digging in deep. One other thing I want to ask you, Jamie Dimon said something about, I watched that actual interview. He talked about the bond market breaking, and then the media went wild with it. Like, do you see anything that is going to quote unquote break the bond market? If the bond market breaks, you mentioned Jamie Dimon. That's why I have to go with it. Yeah,
no, I think that's a great question. That should have been a topic. So I saw Jamie Dimon do an interview after that one where he kind of put a time frame on it. So what he said in this follow-up interview was, I don't know if it's in the next 6 months or the 6 years.
Okay.
So if you understand that context, he's not calling it today. He's not even calling it this year, but he's just structurally saying, if we keep adding debt on top of debt, this system breaks. He's right. It's a mathematical certainty. You're only arguing about when. And I think 6 months to 6 years is a fine threshold. right? I mean, if you look out 6 years and we're at, we've gone up 40% in the national debt, who the hell would lend us money? I mean, that's just a drunken sailor staying drunk.
What does a broken bond market look like? How does that mean that rates go to 10%, 8%? Do we see the 10-year go to like what actually happens if the bond market breaks the way Jamie Dimon described? What happens to the 10-year?
The 10-year goes to at least 6%. Today it's called at 4.5. I think it's 4.4. It goes to at least 6. And the 30-year bond probably goes to 8.5, 9.
Which means 30-year mortgages are probably 300 basis points.
Yeah, the mortgage rates are probably 9%, maybe 9.5.
Which means then property values.
Well, it just means, I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what would happen.
And it's a mathematical certainty that we will see something, maybe not that severe, but we'll probably see something like this happen in the bond market. And let's even call it the next 6 months to 6 years, maybe even if we said a 5 to 10 year horizon.
No, I don't. I want to hope. And again, this is complete hopium. I'm putting it out in the universe. I realize this is not a strategy, but I don't want to call it a certainty.
Okay. All right.
I want to hope. Again, saying hope and then following up with saying the government is just an oxymoron. It's just a bad strategy, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. I'm going to hope that the Senate and then the House will have to get involved, that they find a way to bend the curve. We've got to show all we have to do is bend the curve. It's got to stop going vertical. If we could just, roll that over a little bit, the bond market will be fine.
Okay.
The bond, dude, if we could bend the curve. So let's say that, then let's just blink and fast forward 18 months because it'll take a while to bend the curve. If we fast forward 18 months and there's physical evidence, mathematical evidence that the United States of America has stopped going vertical on the national debt and we've bent the curve, the 10-year note would probably be, it could be 3%.
Wow.
I mean, it's that meaningful. And oh, by the way, you take a 10-year note from 4.5 to 3%, we're bending the curve even more because one of the largest line items, if not the largest line item, is interest expense. So it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where good news gets better.
Yeah. Yeah. And then not only that, but there's our 4% interest rates that we talked about in the
exactly. Could happen.
The Cardone, prediction. So, okay. Last thing, man. Hey, landlording's not a crime, bro. Landlording's not a crime. Talk about that hat, dude. That is a killer hat. Where did we get a hat? Who sent you that hat?
Yeah, so I got this. I'll just say his first name, Nathan. He has a company called Regency Real Estate. It's in Palm Springs, Riverside, specifically Palm Springs. And he sent me this with a bunch of bumper stickers. I have no idea how he got my home address, but he did. And he sent me this hat. Landlording is not a crime. Got a bunch of bumper stickers, and I just want to thank him for this. It was a surprise. So thank you very much.
What is it? Regency? What is the company called?
It's Regency. Regoncy. Regency. Yeah.
I thought you were just pronouncing it.
No, that's how I think it. That's how it's. I think that's how it's
pronounced. Regency.
That's funny. That's what I told Olivia when I got it first. I'm like, Brad sent me a hat. What's he doing? I'm like, Regency? Nope, Regency. Yeah.
Regency. Okay. All right. I love it. Hey, folks, lots of opportunity. The school community, $20 a month.
Yeah, Sunday. We got the Three Amigos. Yeah. Get in there.
Promote it. What are you guys doing?
Sunday, 8 to 10 a.m. We're going to have Dion and I available, and then 8 to 9. So the first hour, we got the Lumberjack in as well. So a lot of you want to ask Dion questions, Matt questions. You want to get us three to riff on something. This Sunday, $20. Come give it a try. If you don't like it, cancel.
$20.
No hard feelings. But yeah, we're in, and I'm doing it every Sunday. I've hit every Sunday the last 12 or 13 in a row. So yeah.
I had fun with your group. I was there on the Memorial Day weekend. I had a good time. I got a lot of good feedback from people reaching out. Thank you, One Rental at a Time community. Resi Club, Lance Lambert, I was blown away.
Yeah.
I loved. He was on Fox News. Talk about ResiClubAnalytics.com. What is that? Explain what that is.
Yeah, so Lance Lambert, former editor at Fortune, now has his own company called Resi Club, ResiClubAnalytics.com. He is the housing guy I go to. He is data. He doesn't get wrapped in the noise of the headlines. He does a lot of stuff for free. Go to ResiClubAnalytics.com. You can get, I think, 3 or 4 articles a week. If you really want to know your buy box history data, you can go do Resi Club Pro, I think it's called, and get extra material. But yeah, he was on Fox News or Fox Business, I think it is, and it was nice to see him dressed up in a suit and all of that. So shout out, Lance. Great.
He was great, man. He breaks the data down. It's data driven, not headline driven, not sensationalized. Shout out Lance Lambert. Michael, thank you for all that you do. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, brother. Take care.